Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity, and I'm up today with something a little bit different, somebody we haven't heard of in a very long time, and that is Eiffel store. So I've got a little haul here and I'm going to share it, and where I feel I can do any measurements I will do, and I will try and do a couple of makes from this haul this week. So first up, we've got leaves. So we've got ginkgo leaves, and I don't know what the other leaves are, but they're leaves, and that one is a sprig. And of course leaves are useful for all sorts of things, whether you're doing jungly animals, or you want a nice little background for a large flower die, or even a collection of small flower dies that you might have. Things like this are perfect. So let me pop that there, grab my ruler, and let's have a discussion about tariffs while I'm here. Right, I will let you know what I have discovered. That is 3 inches by 3, just over 3¼ inches. So that's a lovely large leaf. Right, tariffs as we go. Right, now on AliExpress, if you purchase from a store and it states a specific dollar amount for shipping, then you are likely to pay a surcharge, but only if you're using FedEx, DHL or UPS, which of course are expensive to use anyway, and they're expedited shipping. So the best way to purchase your craft supplies on AliExpress now is going to be via choice. They do what's known as choice items, and on the page you'll see a little yellow banner either under the product or to the right of the product that says choice, and basically you have to spend $10 on any items from any sellers that are choice marked items, and you get free shipping. But because they're all placed into one large container, all of the sellers will pay all of the fees, tariff costs and everything else. Now 1,000 packages go into each container, and then they're boarded onto an aircraft. When they land in the USA, and I'm speaking for the USA only because I'm not aware of what goes on in other countries, those containers are opened up. Once that happens, they become domestic packages because all fees have been prior paid, and USPS pick those up and they are just shipped to you as they have always been. Now, whether those tariffs impact the sellers enough that products might go up $1 or $2, I do not know. But as for having to pay any fees when they land, as long as you're purchasing choice items, and I don't know if I just said it, but I'm pretty sure KS Craft already does choice items, then there is no further cost to you. So I want you to know that. And Eiffel store is also choice items. So when you're buying, just look for the little yellow banner, make sure you've spent the $10 maximum, and you'll get your free shipping and you won't be charged any fees. Right, now I've got my head around that, I'm going to show you this. Right, we've got another collection of little leaves. Leaves are just so useful. These are very autumnal. I mean, obviously, you know, they can be spring and summer, but when I see things like that, I think of all my oranges and my yellows and my blues and my reds. So that's another one. And then we've got rather a fantasy looking set, and you've got some separate veins for the leaves here which can go on. Another one here, I think those might go onto the edges, but they can also be little trees if you want them to be. And then this one, I believe, looking at it, is a mushroom. Yeah, there's the cap, there's the base, there's the stem, and then you've got little wildlife sprigs popping up underneath, and of course they're all linked below, so you can go and have a look at the images. And then we've got a little wildflower collection, different sprigs and berries, and I'll move those so that you get a clearer look. Now this is a nice set. That's nice and large, so you've got sprigs and you've got separate ones. Now this one, I'll give that a measurement, and that is 3½ inches. And then we've got another one which is all separate ones. And we've got lots of little dotty bits. Now, I don't know what all those dotty bits are, so obviously, you know, I need to go and look at the website. But we've also got some acorns and a little branch there. I'm sure these are probably berries to go on to the end, but those are really sweet. And then we've got more, and this is very wildflower looking. So we've got sprigs of different leaves. These would look nice cut in black, silhouette. And then you've got this one, and then you've got that looks like a little wildflower sprig coming off the end. And please excuse my throat. Yeah, that's better. So some of the medication that I'm on is drying me out at the moment. Right, now then. Mushrooms. Who doesn't love mushrooms? Those are really bold and very easy to do things like that. Just, you know, go ahead and cut them in white, use your markers, put the dots back in if you want to. But if you're into your gnomes and things, then mushrooms are just great. They look great in apothecary jars as well, if you've got any dyes for those. Right, and then we have another set of leaves. All different shapes, tropicals and whatnots. And then we have a teapot. That's a bit random, isn't it? So we've got a teapot. We've got two little opposite facing birdies. You've got the handle of the teapot. You've got flowers and you've got leaves. Oh, and you've got that big long stalk there. That's rather cute, actually. I think I might have to make that one. And then this one, I believe, is a rather quirky, little bit retro elephant balloon. So really simple shapes there. Might be standing on a podium, or they may be gifts, I'm not sure. So I need to find that one out. Right, now I've got another bundle. Just take the elastic band off here and pop that one down. And we've got books. And then we've got an open page book. These are great for using your watercolours on, or even your markers. Really simple to use. I love that, especially as the next set is spectacles, because of course you can always have a book, find that one there, with a little pair of specs on top, and that would make a cute little card or a tag. That's a great set of eyeglasses. I like those. Ooh, let's get a close-up. Those are really cute. And you've got all embossed bits and dashes and all sorts on them. Oh, those are rather cat-like, aren't they? Yeah, I like those. So we've got books and we've got spectacles. And these are tulips. Another one that's great to watercolour. And then you've got all the leaves with the bobbledy bits on the ends on which you can attach your tulips. Perfect time of the year for tulips. And then we've got a nice little cartoony alphabet. So I like to turn it that way around to make sure it's all there. J, K, L, H, there's your I. There's your O and there's your Q. The T's upside down, R, S, V, U, W, X, Y. That's your Y, which goes that way around. I know I was looking at it that way around thinking, what on earth? Yeah, but no, that's your Y. So that's a full set of alphabet, and they measure 3/4 of an inch, so that's a lovely size. And then this one, ooh, I think that's a hat on top of a boot, isn't it? Yeah, it's a little boot house that's got a hat roof. It's been such a long time since I did character dies, because I always used to do MX Art, you remember, and DIY Art Bin. And I know MX Art's still going, and I have made most of her dies. If you've ever seen my videos, if you ever click onto her page, you'll see virtually everything on her page was made by me. So I do not know what happened to DIY Art Bin. I know that she had a baby. And I don't know what happened after that. Now this one, I believe, is a little apple house. So we've got a little roof and a chimney. So that's another one, you know, to work it out needs to be made. This is looking a little bit watermelon to me. So that might be a watermelon house. I'm kind of being brave there and sticking my neck out. And this one definitely looks like a little mushroom house. So, you know, once again, they're just great with gnomes. And this is a little character set. And we've got little rabbit ears that can pop on top and different hairstyles, which is really sweet. And then you've got the clothes, you've got a skirt, you've got the little body here. Oh, we've got another layer of bit for a skirt. And we've got a t-shirt. We've got extra little arms. There's a 4-leaf clover, and you've got all the different eyes. So, you know, once again, another thing that needs to be made. It's an opportunity to get your markers or your chalks out. And then I got another bundle, and going into this one with furniture. So we've got a load of chairs. So you've got a little dog or cat dies, one little crate sitting on the couch. Yeah, I like those. Different sofas. Ooh, that looks a lot more comfortable than my armchair. I could tell you now for nothing. And then I love things like this. Signs. These are all year round. You can stamp your little sentiments. You know, if you've got a little hiking page in a planner, or you want it part of a card and you want it to say the North Pole, just get your stamps out. And little signs can be for little, you know, for hanging out of trees for your fairies and your gnomes once again. And outside shop doors. So if you've got any door dies, you know, you can turn them into little shop fronts and stuff. So things like this are just great and very versatile. I'll measure that one because that's quite big. I like this one. It would look great with a snowman or Santa under it. That's 5 1/4 inches. So that's a full-size card. And this one is actually a pointing finger. You can see that. Yeah, I like those. And then we've got some cluesies. All right, okay. So we've got a lady's body. I'm looking for the head. So I think this is kind of a fashion doll. So, or a mannequin, yeah, like a dress-up doll. So you've got the body, you've got the dresses and skirts, you've got a shorter dress. I'm looking at those bits there. They may be socks or boots or something. And then you've got underwear or bikini. You've got a scarf. So you could absolutely fully dress up the doll. Yeah, you could just go layer upon layer if you wanted to. So the length of that one, because I know there's a lot of younger people out there. Let's have a look. That's just under 4 inches. Who've got designer books for clothing and stuff. And so things like this are really helpful to them. They can just, you know, cut the dummy out and dress it. And cut that out in fabric or pattern paper. And just make a great big display of it. Very nice as well if you've got any of that pattern printed scrapbook paper for layering onto. So yeah, that's a good fashion die, that one. And then next up, we're mailing. Yes, we are. Not only are we mailing, I've also got some envelopes that can go into those mailboxes. So we've got an assortment of different mailboxes, including our post mailboxes. And there's also a set of envelopes. Really sweet. All year round once again. And there's a little postcard. Love those. And then time is on your side. So we've got this little, I call them egg timers. And it's got a nice frame on it, which means that you could turn that into a shaker. And if you've got any sand, you can fill it with sand. Different coloured beads. That's a little bit steampunky because you've got the moth there. But that's really nice. I like that. Very large again. And 4 1/4 inches, fraction over. And then we've got a nice bouquet, and I'm pretty sure those are lilies and those are tulips. And then you've got bits of greenery, and you've even got a little tag. So that's a really sweet set for making a bouquet. Yeah, I like that. And then we have gifts, because gifts are good. You can stack them up. Do them in Christmas designs or birthday designs. You've got some hearts there. So you can even have Valentine designs. And then I'm opening up my other bundle. And we have a set of guitars. So if you know anybody who enjoys playing the guitar, that's a nice one. And then we've got a bunny box. That's really cute. And the ears will tuck into the slits. So I'll have to do that one. That's a really sweet one. I don't know how big really that's going to be made up. But the little section where you'd pop something is 1 1/8 inch. And that's square. So the height of it then, once you've got the ears out of the way, is also 1 1/8 inch. So that's really sweet. And then we have this one. Now, I'm pretty sure that's a rabbit. A rabbit and some grass, yeah. Because this is the rabbit's bum, isn't it? So he's going down in between the grass or a rabbit hole. These go onto his feet, and his feet go here, and his little tail goes there. So that's a nice simple one. Oh, and here's a lovely one. We've got brick wall. I like that. So you can use this to cut the die out, or you can actually emboss, as you know. And then we've got some graduation hats. So we've got graduation hats, and we've got all the tassels. So let's pop those there. And then we have musical notes, which are always good. Very simple card there, just happy birthday and all of the musical notes all around it in whatever colours you want. And that's a great size. That is 3 inches. And then we've got some more glasses. So there's 8 pairs of glasses there. Great for your critters and stuff. And then we're going back to our foliage. So we've got foliage and berries there. That's very Christmas looking. I like that. And then we've got ferns. I always love ferns. And then we've got other little sprigs. And we've also got 2 little clumps of grasses and a 3rd longer piece of grass. And then opening up my final bundle just to see what's in it. And we have more signposts. And I love that. Signposts are so useful. We have more musical instruments. So we've got a drum, another drum. I don't know what you call that. Is that like a panpipes or something? I was going to say that was a mixer, but it's not, is it? I think it's a maraca. And that would be a flute, I think. So that's a great set. And then we have, that looks like a man in the moon with his little hat on. And we've got pillows. We've got a dream catcher. That's a lovely shape for a dream catcher. I'm trying to figure out what that is. A nightcap. And then you've got a nightgown or a wraparound blanket. And then you've got a pile of pillows. So that's really cute. And then we've got a set of keys. Keys are always good for all sorts of things. And then we've got more mailboxes. More simplified. And then we've got a set of hats. So we've got cowboy hats. Oh, we've got a witch's hat. We've got a top hat. We've got a basketball hat. You've got one of those hats where you're warming your ears up. That looks like one of those German hats, you know, for Oktoberfest with a little feather on the side. And then we've got ladies' hats. So if the hat fits, wear it. I like that one actually. And then we've got some more envelopes. So we've got little bundles. And as I said, if you look at these, they just lend themselves to watercolouring. Just colouring them in really quickly and easily. Oh, and then we've got some cookies. I like that gingerbread man. Oh, doesn't he look nuts? Oh, I like that. Yeah. And then we've got all sorts of cookies going on. Chocolate chip cookies. Macarons. Swirly twirly ones. And we've got stars. So those are all year round. I like those. And last but not least, we've got some feathers. And I will measure that one there, because I think that one's the biggest. And that is 3.5 inches. Right, that is a huge pile. Yes, it is. And as I said, everything is linked below, so you'll be able to go and see all of the images. And I do thank you so much for joining me today. And if I didn't say it at the beginning because my throat was hurting, I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and I hope you have a wonderful today. Bye.